Spark L&D podcast. I'm Ina Olimskaya, and this series is for L&D professionals who want to grow their impact and for business leaders how L&D can drive performance. Each episode will share practical tools and insights that will help you to spark L&D with confidence. And today I am not alone. I will introduce my guest just in a minute, but wanted to say hi, Pat.
Hello, Ina. Good day and selamat petang from Malaysia.
Nice to see you. So, what will happen today? Today, we'll actually discover a skill that is quite often underestimated, and I'm talking about facilitation. So, even well-designed training program can fall apart when facilitation doesn't land. And when it's done well, it doesn't just engage learners, it actually builds credibility for L&D, strengthens our influence, and also drives real business impact. So today we will try to unpack what inspiring facilitation looks like and why it's actually a leadership skill that every L&D professional should invest in. Doesn't matter where you are right now, in the beginning of your professional journey, or you lead strategic conversations in a higher level. And today I will be joined my third guest, Patricia, who brings both hands-on experience and thoughtful perspective on facilitation. Hi, Pat. Welcome, and nice to see you here today.
Hi, Ina. It's so nice to see you once again, and so thank you to you for having me on your podcast show. Really, really, thank you.
It's
Feels
my
so
pleasure.
good.
It's
Feels
my
so
pleasure.
good. Yeah.
I didn't mention that you actually a founder of Passion for Action. And I had privilege to see you in action and also feel how you change atmosphere in the room due to facilitation. So I would like that our guests also can learn from you through listening this podcast today.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ina. Yes, Passion for Action training is a consultancy training that I had since 3 years ago. After I left corporate after 25 years, 25 amazing years of corporate life. And I said to myself, if there was one thing that I could do in my career that I've not done, what would that be? Was really to open a training and consultancy company. And I focus very much on facilitation because facilitation is one of those areas that, as what you mentioned earlier on, for any leadership trainers or coaches out there to embrace meaningful conversations is really about how can we facilitate conversations, workshop, trainings, even podcasts like what we're doing right now, that it becomes two-way instead of one-way. Yeah, so that's the key word of facilitation on how to make things easy and more adaptable. I hope I've given you that little Kickstarter for that.
Yes, you did. And actually, it's also one of the reasons why you asked you to come exactly for this episode, because for me, you were a kind of a role model of good facilitation. But let's hold the horses. I have a first question to you. Let's start with the basic. So, what does great facilitation mean to you?
Wow, wow, wow. Now, Ina, I love that question. As basic as it sounds, as important it shall be. So for me, as an effective facilitation is when a person is able to engage with the audience. And the audience here can be someone on the top high level or even to the lowest level. And sometimes I say lowest level, even the most junior people in the organization can be engaged by you. So effective facilitation really is how do we make it two-way? How can we make it people understand what you're trying to deliver in the most effective, in the most, I would say, inspirational yet transformational way. In a many, they can use different tools that can drive the impact towards them. So that's what I would call an effective facilitation
And it
from my
sounds
point of view.
And it sounds really like a leadership skill because you are already connecting different teams and different layers in the organization. And if you really want to do it, you need to be able to operate and engage with different teams. That's interesting.
Definitely, definitely. Yes. And in today's world, you've been in corporate, I've been in corporate. We know that we cannot run away from communication, right? Communication can either make things work or can make things break. So, in any way that we're using to facilitate a conversation, a communication, a workshop, a session, it involves two-way to drive, I would say, meaningful conversations that drives impact.
And I glad to hear actually what you just shared, because when I thought about this episode, um, first of all, I thought about facilitation during workshops, but then I realized actually when you're L&D professional, you facilitate not only your workshops, you also facilitate different meetings or different cross-functional communities, and you still need to have good facilitation skills even if you don't deliver the workshop. Glad to hear the same perspective from you.
Likewise, likewise. We share the same real life issues, but we also, I believe, that we're passionate to find tips and tricks or treats, you will call it, to see how if your viewers can gain some golden nuggets from today's session that they can apply it in their next session that they're doing. Let's see.
Pat, and can you share a moment or some situations when, due to facilitation, you managed to change the temperature in the room? So, what I mean, the atmosphere in the room changed from closed to open space. So, what was this the moment? What happened? Um, Let us to travel into this moment.
Wow, let me travel back. I had so many, but I could remember one incident, most likely about 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
when I went into a workshop. And in that workshop, I had close to about 20 participants.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very high level groups of people, who thought they knew everything. It's tough when you get into a room and they're very close up and they have their hands like this, it's close up like that, all 20 of them. And it's like they're looking at you to to say, what have you got for us? What can you do with us? And I went in with my posture was, number one, very open and welcoming, my tone of voice, as you can see here. And in that session, what I did was, instead of having all 20 of them looking at me, I started doing small breakouts in the groups of threes, around threes to four. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to diffuse, the intensity and make them into smaller groups so that everyone has an opportunity to actually speak to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scenario where at the workplace they hardly speak to each other. And in that facilitated session, I could see their hands from like this where I saw. And when they went into that session, and of course I gave them a very powerful question. The question was, how has the year been for you? And I remember at that point of time, we were at the mid mark, which was somewhere in the month of June, end of June,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they were reflecting about how the year has been for the past 6 months. I was not surprised because I knew this is how you should be done. And they were sharing, and their hands from here just open up, and they were just sharing how some parts were challenging, some parts where they were progressing on, and that itself was a real example of facilitation to diffuse an tense scenario to an open scenario. So when I brought all of them back in that 20, amazing, because they were like, yes, they were smiling instead of tense. I could see smiles, and that session for the next one whole day was just so magical. And when they came back, throughout those activities on that day one, a lot of them came to me and said, "Thank you for allowing us to open up, to share our expertise, to share our challenges. But more importantly, we have action steps that we're going to do because now we've increased our self-awareness thanks to your facilitation. I know I took some time to explain, but that has been something that stuck to me,
Thank you for sharing that. And if I may ask one more question about this situation, how did you come up to this idea? Did you plan it in advance? Because probably you knew that you would meet 20 people, but you don't know what kind of mood they would have when you enter the room. So did you plan this activity before, or it came to your mind when you saw them the first time?
You're asking me very, very tough but good questions, I guess as an experienced facilitator, number one, you need to come in with the mindset that no one wants to give you a tough time. I think that's the first step. Because if I went in with, oh my goodness, they are going to be tough, it will impact me mentally, emotionally, and physically. I always tell myself, Pat, you're going to meet different styles of people, different communication styles, different behavioral styles. And nobody wants to come to work to do a bad job. That's what a great mentor used to tell me. No one wants to come to work to do a bad job. Maybe they're facing a bad day. Maybe they are facing a tough scenario at home. But we all want to contribute at work, right? So that's number one. Number two, as an experienced facilitator, you need to come with a bag of tricks with you. In your jacket, you need to have a few because you never know when, what, who you need to use. And if you have a variety of this, you feel more comfortable and confident that if a scenario like this happens, what would I do? I mean, like we said, the 20 of them are the ones that, came in extremely confident. What if the 20 of them came in extremely introverted, quiet, and did not say anything? Could I use the same tricks or treats? I could. Could I change the question? I could. So it's really depending on how alert the facilitator is. And more important, I always go with what is the expected outcome at the end of this session? Because if I know what the outcome is, I work backwards to ensure the tools that I use during the facilitated session suits the required requirement. Now, I give you a third tip. I would say a third tip as in tools is sometimes it depends on culture. Because you know that I travel across the globe. I facilitate with so many cultures, and some cultures, some facilitation ways works, some does not work because of because that some need slightly more time to bond together, some need some time to spend more intense conversation, smarter conversations before they go. So really it's about going in prepared 70%, and the 30%, be curious, be open, be flexible if you need to tweak. So 70-30 is my secret formula that I'm sharing with you today. 70-30.
Thank you, Pat. So what I hear from this answer is that you come open to the world, but still with the pack some ready tricks that you can use within that 70% frame.
Yes, definitely. Because if I don't have that 70%, I'm putting myself in a very tough situation. So that's why facilitation is it's not an easy task at the beginning, but you cannot be overconfident. I think if you're being overconfident as a facilitator, you are just tying your hands, But if you're going to the fact that I'm a facilitator, I'm not a subject matter expert, the participants are. Let's see what we can do to exchange so that we can respect the space with trust, openness, and also new findings. I think if we go in that mindset, things start to unfold and we go with the flow.
Yeah, indeed. So we talked about time when you already had this ready pack with different tips
Mm.
and tricks. But if we travel back to the past, again, another travel machine is in use. Uh, there was time when you did your first training sessions, first facilitation, and something probably didn't work, because if you told me that everything was perfect from day one, I would doubt this answer. Can you share with us any setbacks or something that you planned, something that went not like you planned, or facilitation turned to another direction? Tell us a bit about that.
All right, I'll be I'll I have so many. When I was so much younger, I do have sometimes right at the moment, right? It doesn't mean that I had at the earliest stage and I don't have it now. And I'll be very open with you. In my earlier days in
Mhm.
facilitation, I did make quite a number of bloopers. Like number one, being overly confident. And being overly confident was like I thought I got to know the sessions, they were all in my control. I didn't bother to know about the participant's name. It's just like I generalize everybody like, hi everyone, hi everybody. And I realized that what is everyone? What's everybody? If I can be a facilitator and I can call you and I can get even to know you like, hi, my name is Patricia and can I get your name? And you say, my name is Ina, there's a connection over there. So along the way, I started to practice
Mhm.
learning people's name. And that helped me a lot in connecting. So the beginning earlier journeys, I generalize people by hi everyone, hi everybody. I hope everyone's doing okay. And really, if you can, don't do that. Don't say everyone, everybody. Don't generalize. If you can, personalize it. I'll give you another another blooper. Okay, I'm not shy, but I hope this can help the viewers in terms of bloopers that I've done in
Mhm.
facilitation. Um, One of this facilitation was when I was asking people questions. I was so confident that I could remember all their answers or their inputs, right? And when I tried to reiterate back their summary, one of them participants said, "That's not what I said." I was like, "Jeez, that's not what I said." And I got so nervous and I totally lost it. I'm truth to the core. From then on, I made sure when I went to a workshop, you know what I do? I make sure I brought marker pens. I made sure, Ina, you've seen in my workshops, marker pen was always a must. When they say something, it's a very important point, I make sure I write it up on that flip chart so
I
that
know and saw it.
it helps me, it validates what the participant said. And even throughout the end of the day, I can always refer to the, the, the flip chart and say that this is what was accumulated, their views. And participants are nodding because I respected the exact words. So that was the blooper. Don't try to be overconfident and try to memorize their inputs. Don't. So I shared you two of my utmost biggest learning.
Thank you, Pat, for willingness to talk openly about some setbacks, because it's something that we usually don't like to look back. But great that you gain some learnings from that. And I know that you always name participants by name, call them by name. I observed it from probably the first session that we did together. And yeah, I know how you like different post notes and writing on flip charts. Good tip, good tip. And before we wrap up, you already shared with us some
Mm.
practical tips, but maybe you can give some additional recommendations for L&D professionals who want to grow their facilitation skill, or maybe to share some resources that our listeners can check after listening, watching this podcast. Some
Oh,
tips from Pat for someone who wants to grow their facilitation skills.
Okay. All right. I'll give you some tips. I'll give you three tips. All right.
Mhm,
I'm in the
mhm,
mood of giving tips today.
mhm.
All right. The first tip, if you want to be a good to a great facilitator, number one, you need to be passionate to connect to people. Passion is very important. Like you said, if you have the passion, you will have the action to be a great facilitator, because being a facilitator is not about you, it's about your participant. It's not about you, it's about your participant. Because if it's all about you, rule number one, it won't go well. If it's about your participant, it's about opening, learn, unlearn, relearn, reading the room. That's very important. All right. The second tip I'd like to give to you is that you can have a variety of tips and tricks that
Mhm.
you would like to have. And today I'll share with you one of it, and I have it with me right now.
Oh,
Uh,
what a
yes,
surprise.
I have it. Ina, you told me. This is, as you can see, I'll just put it closer to the camera right here. You can see
Ah,
these are what we call as photo cards. Photo cards. That's a saying. Picture says 1,000 words. Yes, a picture says 1,000 words. And I always carry this with me in my work bag, in my casual bag, because I never know who I'm meeting, right? So I
mhm.
use photo cards to drive conversations because photos are neutral. Like, for example, Ina, what do you see in this picture?
I see the dog.
A dog. And what does a dog represent to you?
Something very kind.
Something very kind. So for me, a dog is about loyalty. So a
Mm.
picture speaks 1,000 words, and we can get this going as an icebreaker, as an energizer. So this is one of the tools that I like to share with you: photo cards, because it's neutral. It's not about I say, oh, it's right, it's wrong. It's about perspectives. So that's one of the tools I like to share with you. And the last tip, the third tip I like to give as a great facilitator is, after a session of your session, after you facilitate a session, always reserve some time for yourself to do a bit of reflection and ask yourself this question. Number one, what went well? Number two, what did not go so well? And number three, what would you do differently the next time around you're able to facilitate? Just 5 minutes of reflection while it's fresh in your mind is going to help you to humble yourself and to prepare yourself for the next session. I do this all the time because there are some facilitations that require slightly longer because it's heavy, but it's a ritual that I do every time, but I don't tell others. But I just recenter myself because it takes a lot of energy to facilitate. I just recenter myself, three
Mhm.
questions, and I write it down so that I don't have to memorize. I write it down. The next time when I go for another facility, I will just read the notes before, switch on, and I don't repeat same mistakes again. So three tips I'm in the mood of giving today, Ina.
Thank you, Pat. Actually, I'm using one of these tips, even two already. Yeah, I also do the same practice, reflecting on every workshop that I co-facilitated or facilitated, and especially when I just moved to learning and development, it was my common practice, and I looked at what and how, what went well, how it went well, and what else can be done. It's really very practical. It helped to kind of elevate facilitation through the time. Really powerful tip. Thanks for
Well,
sharing.
thank you. No word. Thanks, Ina, for validate. You are validating that 2 points and keep it up. I've seen your facilitation. You have gone from a one way to a two-way, and I can see that when you're doing that, your body postures also shift, and the openness drives two ways. That's all I can say. I'm proud
Thanks,
of you.
Pat. Thanks, Pat. If I look at what we discussed today, and I also try to add something useful for our listeners, I can add some additional actions that L&D professionals can integrate into their facilitation practice if they really want to boost this skill. So first of all, don't be afraid to ask feedback participants or your professional friend, but ask those whom you trust. And then you can ask it in a friendly way, and you understand that those people also want something good from you. From this feedback, you can learn really a lot. Then try to observe facilitators who are kind of like a role model. It doesn't mean that you need to copy them, but you can get some tips. Oh, actually, she did it very interesting. Oh, she is using these emotional cards. Maybe I also can use it. Oh, I like how she asked this question. Maybe in my next session, I can integrate the same way. So don't try to copy, but try to get something that can fit your personality and also your group. And last but not least, I remember, Pat, we also talked about you before this podcast, how it's important to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Facilitation is like a muscle. And if we really want to grow it, it's like you need to go to the gym to have a good posture and good body. The same with facilitation. Just by reading books and watching different videos, it will not unfortunately grow. You need to step up and really practice a lot and use any momentum to facilitate workshops, training sessions. But even if there is no opportunity right now, volunteer to facilitate informal learning events or maybe some check-ins within your team. It's also kind of opportunity to do facilitation. Would you
You've
like
got
to
those
add anything?
points. I like your tips, and your tips are really, really down to earth, and it's free of charge. You don't have to pay money. You don't have to attend a workshop to learn all this. It's something that you can apply straight on, as long as you have the good intentions to level up yourself, be a better version of yourself as a facilitator. Apply it, and do not be afraid of making mistakes, because mistakes are just learnings. Don't Mistakes are not meant to just, oh my goodness, that's bad. No. What would I do differently the next time around? That's how you ask the questions. That's how feedback is. And let's take feedback is for feed forward. That's what I want to say.
Yes. Thanks, Pat, for sharing your experience, but also elements of your journey so we all can learn from it. And for our listeners, if this episode gave you new perspective on your facilitation style, or also reminded you how this skill can be powerful, take a moment to reflect and think, what will be one element that you would do different in your next training session to make it more engaging and more impactful? And share your thoughts in the comments under this video. We're very curious to hear from you. What can you do differently? And before we close, Pat, any last messages or comments for our listeners?
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, to do a close up, one key message that I like to tell future facilitators or current facilitators or
Mm-hmm.
even experienced facilitators. So I'm very inclusive and diverse. Is enjoy the process. Some of us gets very nervous to be a facilitator. You want to be you want a perfect session. You want a perfect conversation. You want a perfect breakout and so forth. Drop it. Just enjoy the process, and when you enjoy the process, things will get in place for you. That's my only advice to you. Just enjoy the process. And if you don't enjoy the process, it's okay if you don't want to be a facilitator. That's my only advice. Don't force yourself. Don't force yourself. Yes, I'll be very honest, right? You asked me to be as honest as possible. Enjoy the process and enjoy making mistakes, because mistakes are learning for success. My only message.
Thanks, Pat. So enjoying and is very connected with passion also. If it's your passion,
Yes.
you will enjoy it. I love it. I love it. Thanks so much for coming and for sharing your perspective. And with that, dear our listeners, follow Spark L&D, Stay tuned on new episodes and take part in the next conversations. Thanks for watching, listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye, Ina.
Bye.